You decide it's time for change. You want to implement something positive in your life. Maybe you want to start a new project. Maybe you want to commit to working out. At first, you feel excited. The possibilities energize you. But then, when the real work begins, that excitement paves the way to hesitation. The motivation turns into hesitation, and instead of taking action, you feel stuck, waiting for that burst of motivation to return. Now, why does that happen? It's not because you're lazy or undisciplined. It's because you rely on the wrong type of motivation. The type that when things get rough, that sustains the motivation further. But there is another type of motivation, a type that propels you forward with sustained and long-lasting drive, that can give you endless motivation. And today we're going to uncover how to tap into that type of motivation. So, I'm Hilmi Aytar, and throughout my life I always ask myself the question, how do I motivate myself and others? I've been in the sales industry for a while, where I had to always motivate my team. And recently, since 3 years, I built Motileo, which is a gamification platform to automate motivation in businesses. So, let's start with what most of us rely on, extrinsic motivations. These are the things like deadlines, monetary rewards, recognition, status, fame. They can push you to start, but they never create a long and lasting drive. So, why does that happen? Well, dopamine is the brain's motivation chemical. Contrary to what most people believe and think, what's most motivating for your brain is not the reward itself, it's actually the anticipation. Dopamine surges as you work towards a goal, but plummets just after achieving your goal. Now, what is the alternative? Intrinsic motivators. You have 5 types of intrinsic motivators: curiosity, mastery, authenticity, autonomy, and purpose. Curiosity is the drive to learn and explore something new. It transforms effort into discovery. Mastery is the satisfaction of progression. It turns every step into a path to grow. Purpose, or authenticity, is the fancy word for doing something because you like doing it. It turns the process itself into a reward. Purpose is what makes the effort and the task meaningful. And autonomy gives you the responsibility and the ownership of your goals, and that propels you forward and gives you the engagement, the drive to move forward. So, why are intrinsic motivators so powerful? Because extrinsic motivators, they are like fossil fuels. They are bright and exciting in the moment, but they never last. Intrinsic motivators, they are like fusion energy, long-lasting, self-fulfilling, self-sustaining. And they give you the drive, action, and focus to keep moving forward, no matter how tough the tasks are. Now, think of, for example, Albert Einstein. In the beginning, he was stuck in a patent office job, but he didn't have any fame or recognition. So how did he explore and discover so much? How did he achieve so much? Because of his curiosity, his lifelong curiosity to discover the universe. And that gave him the lifelong drive to curiosity and growth. Or think of Elon Musk. Imagine this: multiple failed rocket launches, each costing millions of dollars, and his company facing bankruptcy. But what kept him moving forward was his purpose to make humanity a multiplanetary species. With every setback, he got the resilience to drive forward because of his purpose. Now, what's extraordinary about intrinsic motivators is that they put you in the flow state. That state where time is timeless, effort is effortless, and it's the artist lost in its craft, the runner in the rhythm, the scientist solving complex problems. But, excuse me. But what's even nicer about the flow state is that it's producing performance-enhancing neurochemicals, such as dopamine, norepinephrine, endorphins, and this is where the self-sustaining loop comes in, because those very intrinsic motivators that put you in the flow state, and then the flow state with those chemicals improve those very intrinsic motivators, and because they're increased, they put you easier back in the flow and keep you sustained. So it creates this loop that goes on with putting you a higher intrinsic motivator, putting you into the flow state, and it continues that way. So, it all sounds amazing, and we can all agree on that the intrinsic motivators is a far superior method of getting motivation. But how do you actually increase it? How do you do that? So, first, you start with identifying where you are with your purpose, with your intrinsic motivators. You can scale them from 1 to 10, giving a total score of 50. Your challenge, your goal is to improve your overall drive score by 5 points every year until it's maxed out. Now, how do you actually identify your intrinsic motivator level, and how do you increase it? Let's start with curiosity. Now, ask yourself this to identify your curiosity. How often in the past month have you learned something or explored something that's related to your work? If your curiosity is low, you can do this to improve it. Start by learning something new to implement in your work. And the essential part here is that you learn something that you can immediately get feedback on. For example, 3 years ago, I sold my sales company and I started Motleo. I had to learn coding from scratch. What I saw is that finding something about coding, learning it, implementing it directly to build my product gave me the curiosity to keep on learning and improving my coding skills, which gave me the drive to continue even till 3 a.m. at night, because I was curious about what I can learn more to improve it. So, find something to learn with a quick positive feedback loop, which will give you the drive to increase your curiosity. Mastery. To gauge your mastery level, ask yourself, how much did you develop the skills that are needed for the core activities of your job or the goals that you want to chase? To improve your mastery skill, first identify all the skills and sub-skills that are needed for your work, and then actively practice it. Going back to my coding example, I was actively trying to practice to become a better coder because I wanted to build a better product, and that gave me a sense of growth. Every time I started achieving something because of my progression of mastery, I wanted to become even better. So, when you get the progress satisfaction, it will give you the drive to keep on moving. Autotelicity. To gauge your autotelicity score, ask yourself, how often do you crave doing those work and the activities of your goals where you're not doing it? Ask yourself, how often in the past month have you actually worked on the stuff that you need to work on without any obligation? And if you don't have this process of joy of working on your tasks, there's a counterintuitive way to improve it. Instead of thinking, what do I like doing? Start thinking, what am I good at? Because Naturally, when you're good at something, it creates more moments of enjoyment in your work. So trust the process, lean into things that you're good at. That's, I think, one of the reasons why I picked up coding so easy, because I was naturally good at it. It came easy to me, so it created more moments of enjoyment for me. So lean into your strengths. It will make it feel easier, the tasks that you need to do, which will improve your authenticity. And then purpose. How connected do you feel to the deeper meaning in your work or in your goals? If you don't have any purpose in your goal, then it might be time to take a step back and change your role or industry. But before you do that, your purpose doesn't have to be grand, it doesn't have to be big. If you can find a spark of purpose in your job, let me show you how to amplify it. First, create a clear, articulated purpose statement. For example, in my case, motivation was always big in me with improving the motivation in my sales team. So my purpose was always to create this system that automatically improves the motivation in other businesses. And that's why it completely aligned with me building my product, giving me a sense of purpose. So it doesn't have to be big. Just think of it. Let's say you work in a technology company. Your purpose can be improving technology to better the life of others, whatever resonates with you. Because often it's not the effort that's the issue, it's the alignment. So the more purpose you have in your work, the larger sense of meaning it will have, which will make those difficult tasks ahead of you worthwhile to do it. And then autonomy. How much freedom do you feel in the path you choose within your work? So, for example, how much of the process can you have autonomy on? How much independence do you have? Because things that you can control, that are within your control. So when I talk like this, can everyone hear me? Right, okay. So, without autonomy, the motivation diminishes. So try to take control. If you don't have any autonomy in your work currently, you can proactively reclaim it with steps like identifying where you can take control. Maybe you can propose a new idea in your job. Maybe you can change a process, or maybe you can decide to use another tool. Whenever you take the responsibility and you embrace the responsibility to take ownership of your work, you will feel like it's yours, and that will give you the satisfaction of embracing something that's totally yours. Now, if you don't have anything that you can take control and autonomy over, like spend 1-2 hours every week to create a project that's entirely yours. And that way your sense of satisfaction of independence will improve as well. So, taking ownership will give you the sense of empowerment and autonomy. Well, this all sounds amazing, but without consistent effort, nothing will change. Without momentum, nothing will change. So start this week by identifying how your drive score is and choose just one pillar, one intrinsic motivator that you can work on. Maybe you can learn something new that will heighten your curiosity. Maybe you can practice your skill to heighten your mastery. Just choose one and start working on it. And then before you know it, you will have this endless drive. So thank you very much for listening, and I can't wait to see the incredible things you'll achieve with the newfound drive. Thank you.